everybody. Welcome to today's edition of the Gamut Network. An extraordinary woman we have on the show today, and an incredibly beautiful woman, as you can see, wearing my very favorite color. I am so excited to welcome Estela to the show today. Hi, Estela.
Hi, Mindy. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
So wonderful to see you. I am excited and want to jump right into sharing your story because you have quite not only an incredible story, but also some amazing accomplishments that I want to make sure that we get to highlight. So can you kind of take us back and share with us your journey?
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll give you the shortened version. So I was diagnosed with a neuromuscular disorder called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So it does not affect the teeth. It's named after the three scientists who discovered it, and it's called CMT for short. It's underneath the muscular dystrophy umbrella. So it mostly affects the feet, hands, legs, and it's a progressive demyelination of the nerves. So it basically a very wide spectrum of severity. Some people are running marathons with it. Some people are in electric wheelchairs. So, there's a very wide range of severity. And then, we were diagnosed, my sister as well. No family history. It's usually hereditary neuropathy. But in our case, it was just spontaneous mutation. My parents knew nothing about it. But unlike many parents, they chose to kind of push us into the spotlight and learn as much as they could about it. And from the age of 7 till about 15, my sister and I were heavily involved with MDA. We were the poster children for Long Island, New York, where we grew up. And so we never grew up knowing anything different. We were kind of thrown into the spotlight every weekend. My parents were volunteering at dance-a-thons, telethons, all these just super positive and empowering events and groups of people. So we grew up thinking we were little celebrities, basically, and it was great therapy for my parents and for my sister as well.
That's so interesting because my husband and I had a very similar experience, obviously, as your parents, when our son Oliver was diagnosed with rigid spine muscular dystrophy. And I do want to pause for a second and share with our audience that in my journey with understanding muscular dystrophy, I am still to this day amazed how many different strains there are under just muscular dystrophy, let alone all the other hereditary muscle diseases out there. But certainly when Oliver was diagnosed, and he wasn't diagnosed until 4 because they just couldn't figure out what the issue was. I didn't know anything about muscular dystrophy. Like, also in our family, there was no history. Muscular dystrophy to me was the Jerry Lewis telethon every September, and that's just about the extent of it. So we kind of went the same path that Oliver was also very involved. He was a poster child. He went to the MDA events and did everything. We put him in everything possible to have him feel a part of something. And I do think that it was not only helpful for us as parents, understanding that we weren't alone in this, but certainly with Oliver as well. And I'm curious if you and your sister kind of felt that way also.
1,000%. And even to this day, we went to the MDA summer camps. So, we may have been the only kids really in our school with a physical disability. I don't remember a single person growing up from elementary school to high school with a physical disability until I had a blind teacher in high school, which was amazing. But so, there's, even with my sister and I being it's still very easy to feel isolated and left out. So when we had those experiences of being with other children with other forms of muscular dystrophy, going to summer camp, those were opportunities where we really felt normal and we weren't looked at for what we couldn't do. And also on the other side of that, we developed such an incredible sense of gratitude because we realized that there were other kids out there much more severe than us with much more greater challenges. And every summer I would come back home and say, you know what, I can do this. There's so many kids out there. And,
it's so true. Now, did it affect you and your sister in the same way? Are you both at the same level? And what is that? Are you ambulatory?
Yeah, pretty much very, very similar, very parallel paths. She had a few more surgeries than I did, but basically it starts out with a foot drop. So, you know, the way my parents realized something was wrong, we were tripping a lot. We're tripping over our feet, and a lot of times people are labeled as clumsy. And that slowly progressed to where the point we both needed leg braces by first grade, kindergarten. You know, and my parents put us in dancing classes and sports, but, you know, over the years, it became too challenging, and it almost did us a disservice to try and keep up with our peers. And basically now at 39, so my legs from the knee down are completely paralyzed. So I depend on leg braces to walk. And it does affect my hands. So I have hand atrophy. And, you know, I can't even pick up like a towel off the floor. That's the limited strength I have in my hands. And the legs, of course, stairs are like my arch nemesis and along that. But yeah, like I said, it affects everybody very, very differently in some cases.
How does it affect you on an emotional level in terms of, again, I can, you know, only speak from our experience with Oliver, but I would say that's probably one of the hardest parts is that cognitively he is phenomenal, but as I quote him, says he feels like he's trapped in a body that he cannot control, meaning that he is, you know, watching his body lose capacity and there's nothing he can do about it. How do you feel that way, and how do you manage through that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a level of grief. You know, a lot of times people who have a traumatic accident, they go from being fully capable to the next day, you know, being in a wheelchair or paralyzed. With a progressive disease, you're constantly in this state of grieving. And you're noticing, I could do that last year. I can't do that anymore. So it's a constant balance between acceptance of this disease and also the grit to keep going and to get stronger where you can, and finding those outlets, almost therapeutic. Like for me, I couldn't do the sports, I couldn't do the kick line, I couldn't do the cheerleading. And so what was my second choice is basically the arts. I would fall asleep with a box of crayons, my mother would tell me. So, you know, that was my outlet of becoming artistic and doing fashion design and drawing and all those things. So, you know, it's difficult. It's not an easy thing to deal with your entire life, but we end up becoming more adaptable just in our personality. We become more empathetic. We become more patient with ourselves and those around us. And if we're lucky, we really get an opportunity to find a way to pay it forward and to empower other people and to really, you know, like my story, basically build a career around it instead of trying to constantly fight it.
I love that. And you are building a career around that. I would love to now talk about your podcast, Embrace It. I would love to, first of all, hear about it, and then please let our audience know where they can listen to it.
Sure, yeah. So Embrace It is a division of the Hereditary Neuropathy Foundation and a collaboration with my partner, Lainey Ishbia, who is the founder of a great adaptable fashion blog called Trend-Able, so Trendable. And we met about 2 years ago, and we hit it off. And, you know, she's got some great blog posts, and I thought, you know, we became friends. Why don't we record this? And just, not everybody has that girlfriend or sister to talk about their disability with. Why don't we kind of bring that to the community? And that's what we did. So yeah, it's on Apple, it's on iTunes. It's called Embrace It, with a pun on the brace there, because we both wear leg braces, and we understand kind of the trials and tribulations that come along. We're both parents, we're both mothers. We speak about dating and relationships and marriage and all that, with a side of disability, basically.
But isn't that how it should be, though? The disability should be the side.
Right.
That how do you manage all of this? And then, because you're a woman, you're a mother, these are things that need to come before the fact that you have a disability. That's just how you manage it. So I think it's an incredibly important platform, and I think certainly one that our viewers will enjoy. So I can't wait myself to listen to it. Fantastic. But also, you have done a TEDx talk. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity and honor to give a TEDx talk this past October at my old high school, which was really a full circle moment for me, because when I was in high school, my focus was so much on hiding my disability and figuring out my place and my niche, and now coming back to the TEDx talk, it was all about repurposing your pain, which was the title of it. And for me, I started out with basically how I became again involved in this work was I saw a documentary called Bernadette, which is now on Amazon Prime, and it was the first, and she was just so vulnerable. She put herself out there. She documented herself struggling and all the surgeries and just the pain. It was just really raw and powerful. And I said, oh my God, I have to reach out to this woman. And so my TED Talk was basically my journey from being inspired by this documentary to reaching out to her on Facebook, to becoming friends with her, and really breaking down the 5 steps for me of repurposing your pain. And, so the first one, I talk about unpacking, like, what are you carrying around with you? What's the baggage? What pain have you experienced in your life? Because we've all had painful circumstances, whether you're disabled or not. And, the second is finding your tribe. How do you reach out to people who are in the same boat as you, the same community? How do you build up that sense of community, and how do you listen? It's called social listening, I call it. How do you tap into what people need, what they're looking for, and how can you find a way to provide for that? And then the third is inspired by one of my favorite entrepreneurs. Her name is Mickey Agrawal. And she says, holy crap, we're alive. She doesn't use the word crap. She's, I won't curse out here, but. Yeah. So it's all about really understanding that we're only here for approximately 21,000 days after our college graduation. And it really puts in perspective that we need, we're here to we're here for a purpose, and we should really act with a sense of gratitude and urgency because we're not here forever. And then the fourth is talk the talk. So it's about networking and collaborating with people and leveling up and finding people who inspire you just like you do and so many other people in the community. And then the fifth is give it away. So I started volunteering right after the Bernadette documentary for the foundation I work for now. And I volunteered for 10 years until I was offered a full-time position. So it's all about putting your purpose before your paycheck. And I didn't realize it then, but I was basically interviewing for the job of a lifetime because now I just have the job of my dreams. And I didn't volunteer for the money. I volunteered because the mission and the purpose aligned with what I felt at my deepest core. So
how beautiful. And I think that's such a completely relevant message for right now.
Yeah.
While we're dealing with so much and there's so much angst and stress and the 21,000 days perspective is what we need to have right now.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just the gratitude that we can do things like this, that there's Zoom and there's other ways that we can connect. I'm incredibly grateful for that, and that I get to have conversations like this and with you and hear about what all of the amazing things that you have accomplished in your life and will accomplish. And actually, on that note, I'd like to ask you our final question that I ask all of our guests, and that is something about the importance of a vision board, and what or who would be on it and why. What do you want to accomplish in this lifetime? Who do you want to meet and why?
Well, I don't have a physical vision board because I feel like it would fill up in like a matter of days. Yeah, but for me, I love Instagram, right? That's my platform of choice. So I have a saved folder on there that I call love. And I just throw in, whether it's quotes or people I'm inspired by, or photos or travel, and I just kind of save it all in there. And my favorite part of that is that I never know how the universe is gonna kind of bring that back to me. So I kind of put it in there with an intention of, my energy. I'm attracted to the energy of whatever it is I'm looking at or the people I'm watching. And I have to say that you have been in that vision board for a few years. Yeah. From the minute I saw Runway of Dreams, and I was like, wow, what that's doing for us is just so powerful. And like here we are.
Thank you.
Thank you. But it's true. It's absolutely true. And you never know when that opportunity is going to come up and when those paths are going to align. But for like specific people, it's Keys. She's one of my favorite artists, but her book that just came out, More Myself, is just an incredible testament to anyone, and just like a beautiful guidebook on how to live life. And then, of course, I mentioned Mickey and her sister Radha Agrawal, who are author of Disruptor, which is a very empowering book, and Daybreaker, a great morning dance party that she throws online, and then Wim Hof, who has great breathing techniques and stress-reducing. And on top and center is a quote that I've just been really attracted to right now. It says, "When you can't go outside, go inside," and it's just
good.
Yeah, it's just so relevant right now. It's like, we're all stuck inside, or as I like to say, we're safe at home. And now we get to kind of upgrade ourselves, right? When you shut your phone down to upgrade it, you have to shut everything down and upgrade the system. This is like our opportunity to upgrade ourselves and take that opportunity to go inside.
How beautiful. What a perfect way to end the show. Thank you for that. But how do people get in touch with you on Instagram?
Okay,
If they have questions or want to connect with you.
Yeah, my handle is STEL, STEL _ Lugo, LUGO.
Perfect. Wonderful. Yep. I'm sure people are going to want to know more and more about you.
Yeah, I have all my links through my Instagram. So
everything. But it was such a delight to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your honesty. I know that you are going to be on somebody's inspiration board, certainly, after this interview.
Thank you.
If you would like to be on the Gamut Network, please email us at talent@gamutmanagement.com to tell us why you'd be a great guest. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Gamut Network, and like all of our social channels at Gamut Management. Estela, thank you again so much.
Take care.
Bye.